In the depths of a clandestine germa 66 lab, Sanji found himself reluctantly entangled in an experiment that pushed the boundaries of science, a project spearheaded by his twisted family. The aim was audacious: to resurrect historical figures using a fusion of genetic engineering and quantum physics. The target? Adolf Hitler. Not for admiration, but as a test of their terrifying technology's limits. The day of the experiment was marked by an eerie, palpable tension. Not fear, but the weight of the unknown. Sanji stood back, arms crossed, glaring at his siblings and father, Judge Vinsmoke, as they activated the quantum field manipulator. The machine hummed to life, designed to stabilize the Higgs field, supposedly the key to materializing consciousness from the past. Sanji's heart wasn't in it, but he couldn't just walk away, not without being watched by Germa 60 SXS cold eyes. Within the containment chamber, a figure began to form: Adolf Hitler, confusion clear in his face as he blinked into existence. However, something went terribly wrong. The Higgs field, instead of stabilizing, began to oscillate wildly. The very essence of mass fluctuated in dangerous ways. Sanji could feel it in the air, the wrongness of it all. Suddenly, the lab itself began to lose solidity. Instruments once solid flickered like mirages, phasing in and out of reality. His family, those cold and ruthless scientists, were no longer smug and confident. Their faces twisted in horror as their bodies began to warp, stretch, and distort. Judge Vinsmoke's calm exterior crumbled first as his skin tore like fragile paper, muscles writhing grotesquely beneath the surface. His siblings, too, were caught in the nightmare, eyes bulging out of their sockets, bones snapping and jutting out at horrific angles. Blood floated in grotesque orbs, defying gravity, bursting in the air like cruel, red fireworks. Even the cutting-edge technology of Germa 66 was not spared. Lab equipment morphed into monstrous shapes. Wires became tentacles, wrapping around what was left of the bodies of his twisted family, merging them with the metal in nightmarish fusion. Sanji, on the other hand, stood paralyzed, his heart pounding. Hitler, within a protective bubble created by the experiment, remained intact, watching in silent horror as the world outside unraveled. His presence felt like a twisted joke, a spectator to the destruction wrought by Germa 60's hubris. Outside, through the distorted remnants of the lab's windows, Sanji could see the cityscape twisting, bending into impossible shapes. Buildings melted like wax. People fell through what was once solid ground, and the sky itself defied reason, painted in colors that didn't belong. The stars flickered, as if even space-time itself was disintegrating. Suddenly, amidst the chaos, a vivid memory struck Sanji: his crewmates, the Straw Hat Pirates. Luffy's unwavering smile, Zoro's silent strength, Nami's wit, Usopp's courage, and the bond they shared. He had left that life behind. But for what? His family? This grotesque show of power? The thought snapped him out of his paralysis. "Don't belong here," Sanji whispered through gritted teeth. His legs, the very ones he had once prided himself on, faltered under the overwhelming stress of the disintegrating that was when Virgo's face flaced in his mind. The crushing weight of Virgo's attack on his leg. The way it had snapped, the humiliation and pain of that moment. His leg trembled, not from fear, but from the memory of that break, that defeat. That Sanji's final thoughts weren't of fear or regret. They were of his crewmates, of his time spent with them, laughing, fighting, and sharing dreams. He would never see them again, but he knew that they had shaped who he was in the end. He wasn't the soldier his father had wanted. He was Sanji, the Straw Hat's cook. And that was enough to as the universe itself disintegrated. Sanji let out a slow exhale, his last breath mingling with the chaos around him. That in the end, as everything dissolved into nothingness, he felt no pain, only the warmth of the memories he held on to as the world finally collapsed into eternal darkness.